Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the Golden Opportunities Coaching YouTube channel. Welcome to those of you who are new. Welcome back to those of you seasoned veterans of what we do around here. What we do around here is bring about conversations of a psychological, mental health, emotional health paradigm. We try to do that as often as we can, usually several times per week. If you're looking to get coaching, would love to be of service to you. Life, relationship, emotional balance, and coaching, all sorts of cool things. Would love to be of assistance to you in this way. And so the important thing here is positive progress. You can reach out via Twitter. You can reach out via this YouTube page. Either way, get you in touch with a member of my team. We can make something good happen for you. This is about depression and some of the things that people with depression often wish that people that did not have depression knew. Depression doesn't always mean you're sad. Sometimes it means you're listless. Sometimes it means you're angry. Sometimes it means you're frustrated. Sometimes it means you feel out of balance or as though you don't have control of your emotional state. So a lot of times people hear depression and they think only of sadness, but they're only thinking of one component and probably the most publicized component of the concept of depression. It's a much more complex um, medical condition than that, emotional condition than that, and the variance of how depression manifests can be quite wide, and so people need to be as flexible, tolerant, kind, and giving to those struggling with this or any other affliction, really, as they possibly can. The next thing to consider is that depression does not define the individual, and a lot of times we say a person is depressed. And I don't, personally, as someone who's been in trauma recovery for 15 years, I'm not a fan of that terminology. The reason I'm not a fan of the terminology is because a person deals with depression, struggles with depression, is coping with or trying to cope with depression, does not do or is not a depressed person. So, when we begin to understand that it's not a definition of identity as much as it's a definition of condition, then we can be more open, tolerant, helpful, useful, and all of those good things towards an individual that has these particular disorders. So, when we begin to understand that, then it becomes easier to deal with helping people with their own challenges. So, the next thing is kind of it's not a choice. Like people don't choose to snap in and out of depression. There is a biochemical element. There is an emotional element. There is a physical element. There is a just previous trauma element. There's all sorts of elements that go into a person struggling with depression, and it's not something that they're necessarily wanting, needing, or even understanding completely how to cope with, how to deal with, what to do with, or any of that. So kind of sort of having the nature of understanding how to get over that or get through that or get around that, because sometimes you never really completely heal from depression. If you have it, the potential for the symptoms to potentially return, the possibility of them returning or sneaking up on you and you think you're fine and then you slip back into the pattern is there. Depression in and of its core is when your expectations and your desires aren't met, and so then it kind of takes you out or wears you out a little bit. Doesn't necessarily mean that, and it can happen to anyone anywhere, and that's important to realize, important to recognize, important to know, because when we think it can only happen to certain groups of people, when we think it can only happen to people who have been through a certain trauma or certain circumstances, we're we're dehumanizing and devaluing those individuals in ways that we probably don't intend to, but it does certainly come across in that manner, and it can be extremely difficult and valuable in that way. In any event, the nature of um, the nature of kind of looking at that from a more holistic and important approach can be super valuable. Hopefully, this is helpful to you. I encourage you to keep your feet on the ground, your mind in the moment. Until next time, everybody.